scheduled to begin right now. We're going to listen in Chief Blackwell and Harry Black, the city manager, as well, as they begin to tell us the latest on what's been happening overnight and into this morning.
Good afternoon. First of all, we're deeply saddened by last night's tragedy. Our hearts go out to the victim and his family. We're here today to provide you an update of what we know so far and what's been done. Because this is a state construction project on a state-owned interstate ramp, we have the Ohio Department of Transportation here to provide you with what information they can at this particular time. Additionally, you'll hear from the Cincinnati Police Department as well as the Cincinnati Fire Department about their various portions in terms of how they're involved in the incident. I ask that you all hold your questions until the end. We want to get through all of the information, and then we'll be glad to respond to all of your questions. At this time, I'm going to ask our fire chief, Chief Richard Braun, to come up and talk about his portion of the tragedy.
On behalf of the Cincinnati Fire Department, I just want the families to know that our thoughts and prayers are with them. And I want to commend the firefighters who came in and worked last night with a concerted effort to do some intricate exercises to get the victims out using both heavy rescues and engines, ladders, and our medics. It was a very coordinated effort, and I would like to bring at this time Chief Tom Laycamp, who is our Special Operations Chief, to go into more detail in the operations that were done. Chief Laycamp.
Thanks, Chief. We arrived on scene shortly after the incident, with the police already being on scene. My first-in units did a primary search of the area, and they consulted with the construction company. They had realized that they had one person missing. At that point, the first-in heavy rescue located the victim, who was obviously deceased, and we also had a victim in the semi that struck the bridge. That victim was triaged and was transported to University Hospital. At that point, we backed off and waited for the investigation of the police department and the coroner's office. After they completed their investigation, their on-scene investigation, we used airbags to basically lift the backhoe up and remove the victim at that time. The victim was removed at approximately 2:45 this morning.
First, I'd like to echo the fire chief's sentiments. The police department also gives the condolences to the family. This situation could have been significantly worse. Just timing that we only have one fatality out of this. We have handled this. We handled it as a death investigation as opposed to a traffic incident because of the unique circumstances and the complexity of the scene. It was a very tough thing to deal with last night, very unsafe, and so we decided to make it a death investigation for the expertise that those detectives would bring to the investigation. Our victim is a 35-year-old Brandon Carl of Kentucky. His family obviously has been notified, and again, our condolences go out to his family.
Again, I just want to reiterate that this tragedy was a result of a worksite incident. It was a demolition job underway. It was a planned demolition job. To speak to the specifics of what was going on at the time on the site, we have Gary Middleton, who is the acting deputy director with the Ohio Department of Transportation. He is here to speak to you about the project and the work that was being done last night. Mr. Middleton.
Thank you very much. First off, first and foremost, we would like to extend our condolences to the employee who lost his life last evening. Certainly a tragedy. We would also like to extend our condolences to the motorist, the truck driver who was injured in the accident. Of course, the Hopple Street improvement included the demolition of this particular structure. This structure will not go back in service. It's being demolished completely as part of the project. Additionally, we do have some investigations still ongoing by the contractor. At the point that COCOSIN concludes that investigation, we will remove the debris from the roadway. Upon completion of that debris removal, we'll make an assessment of the pavement to determine what repairs, if any, are needed, and we will promptly open the roadway back to traffic at that point in time.
As you can imagine, an incident like this is going to create some significant disruption in terms of transportation. At this time, I would ask Assistant Chief Whalen to come up and talk a little bit about some of the transportation and traffic management elements associated with what we're trying to do.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. We are planning to manage this closure at least through tomorrow. Approximately 200,000 vehicles pass by here on the expressway in each direction every day, and so this is a massive amount of traffic rerouting that needs to occur. We will continue to man the intersections near this area as traffic is diverted throughout this period to assist traffic through there, and we'll continue to release updates on suggested reroutes and any other helpful information that we can deliver during that time. We worked very closely last night with the public media, and I thank you for disseminating the word. I truly think that the public knew about this before they left their homes this morning, because we noticed a significantly reduced volume of traffic in the area, complying with our request for people to simply avoid the area. To the extent that they can, we continue that request for people to simply avoid this area. We'll continue with the requested restriction of all commercial traffic that's passing through town to go around 275 or 71, and just simply reduce our congestion. Even the northbound traffic, we would ask that that continue to occur. We have worked and will continue to work with the large customers that are serviced in this area. The University of Cincinnati blasted information to all of their students and staff overnight, as did Cincinnati State, as did the Uptown Consortium and Downtown Cincinnati Incorporated. So we made every effort that we could to reach out. The closures that are in effect now, that is obviously southbound 75 will be diverted off onto 74 West, and inbound 74, if you can either go northbound on 75 or you'll be diverted off onto the surface streets there at Coleraine Beekman. I don't anticipate any additional closures. We identified obviously intersections that are going to become overly congested by that diversion, and we'll continue to man those intersections through the rush hour periods and during any other times of need. Thank you.
Again, we are deeply saddened by last night's tragedy. Our hearts go out to the victim and his family. At this time, we will entertain questions. Okay, from an investigatory standpoint, I would say that there are probably two elements to that. Our police department, I'll let Chief Blackwell talk about whatever is going to remain with respect to his department's investigation, and then I'll have Mr. Middleton of ODOT to come up to talk about what their process is. Chief.
I'm going to let the captain of that unit handle this question. It's a very specific question. Suffice to say that the death investigation has been finished. It will be turned over and be made available to all of you today, but he can talk more about the next steps.
Thank you, Chief. I'm Captain Elliot Isaac. I'm the commander of the Criminal Investigation Section, which includes the homicide unit, and we investigate all the deaths in the city of Cincinnati. In this particular situation, we conducted a death investigation in conjunction with the coroner's office. The next step will be conducted through the coroner's office via an autopsy and their findings based on that. Anything else?
From the Ohio Department of Transportation's perspective, we do have ongoing investigations, clearly, and at the point in time that those investigations are concluded, we'll view the facts and take the appropriate actions at that time. But at this point, we have to wait on the outcome of those investigations.
What exactly was going on that bridge last night prior to this crash?
The question out there is what was going on this site. Clearly, the bridge across southbound lanes of I-75 were being demolished as part of the project. It's a routine operation for the most part. We've done it on other projects. So it was a simple demolition of the bridge. Specifically, we had equipment on the bridge, demolishing the bridge. At this point, I was not on the site, and I do not have those particular details. If you want to answer that question, yes, someone was inside the piece of equipment, from what I understand, yes. That's something I'll have to defer to the Kokosing Construction Company to answer. I'm not sure how many they had on site last night. Yes, it is. We do that on a fairly regular basis around the state. Obviously, engineering is required to do that, and the engineering in this case was done. And so we do have those particular pieces of equipment on bridges around the state.
On the east side of this bridge, span the collapse, you can clearly see in pictures that the concrete had been cut through. It looked like a torch had been used to cut the steel as well. How much of that had been already cut when the piece of equipment was on the other end? It looked like it kind of flipped everything back, all the steel that was still over the edge of the road, back onto the collapse.
To answer your question, at this point, I'm not sure if any steel had been cut. There are expansion joints in the structure that you could be seeing. There are a number of structural features that are out there. Only the investigation will tell us what happened as far as that goes. You know, I don't want to speak for the Kokosing Construction Company by any stretch, but my experience with the Kokosing Construction Company is that they are a very safety-conscious contractor, and that they have some of the highest ratings that you can get as a contractor.
Is it possible we're looking at human error in terms of this accident? Is it possible we're looking at something that was not anticipated with the engineering of this demolition?
I would say that there are any number of possibilities at this point. Again, it's under investigation. I truly do not want to speculate as to what the cause may be. I'm not one of the principal investigators. We'll have to wait to see what they come up with.
What could those possibilities be?
Well, standing here today, I would, again, rather not comment on what those possibilities may be. You know, the report will yield what it yields, and we'll know when that report is finalized. Yes, OSHA was on the scene this morning. Well, in the night, last night. Clearly, Kokosing has a forensic investigator on the scene. So at this point, those are basically the only two entities that are actually performing an investigation as to the cause. Well, typically, you know, the engineering is required. We do have engineering submissions and drawings that will indicate the proper technique for demolishing the structure. Typically, we will not close a bridge or lanes underneath a bridge unless, for some reason, you know, dismantling the bridge isn't possible without doing that. In this case, it was clearly possible to do without closing the lane, but it is part of our standard practice to allow this to occur. Well, Kokosing is under contract with the Department of Transportation, and Kokosing is responsible for demolishing the structure, so it's their responsibility for any cleanup as well.
Are there fines associated with road closures, lane closures, if traffic is restricted? If so, who would bear that responsibility?
There are clearly. In this case, you know, we'll do an assessment, we'll review the contract documents, and if necessary, we'll have those discussions.
But there are fines for lane closures that were unanticipated or extended permitted length.
There are liquidated damages. Yes, they're called liquidated damages. For this particular project, no, I do not. We do have project staff that knows those numbers, but standing here today, I do not know those numbers. They're not fines, again, but they can be. But that determination would be made down the road when we've had time to assess all the facts.
Is it possible the way that we can put the equipment on the one end of the bridge, the west end of the bridge, could have upset the engineering model, upset the whole scenario and caused this collapse?
Again, that's asking me to be speculative, and I really don't want to do that at this time.
Have you ever seen anything like this where a bridge right this pancakes straight down the ground?
I think we're gonna leave it at that point. We don't want him to be pushed in a position in which he's got to speculate on what occurred. At this point, what will remain to be done will be the City of Cincinnati Police Department will conclude the final elements of his death investigation. We will continue to monitor the situation in terms of traffic and transportation and provide ongoing updates. But in terms of the incident itself, that is now an Ohio Department of Transportation activity, and the City of Cincinnati will now migrate to concluding the death investigation and working with ODOT and other entities in terms of communicating what needs to be communicated.
You've just been listening to a news conference, obviously, started by City Manager of Cincinnati, Harry Black, as well as the Chief Jeffrey Blackwell. Essentially, what all members involved, including the foreperson from ODOT and others there, have said is that the death investigation is ongoing, but right now the responsibility in cleaning up lies in the hands of Kokosing, the construction company that was hired to oversee and do all of the construction we've been talking about. ODOT will assess the responsibility, how that will be cleaned up, and the City of Cincinnati and the Cincinnati Police Department says their death investigation is done. As we mentioned before, 35-year-old Brandon Carl is the construction worker who was killed from Augusta, Kentucky, killed last night when this collapse happened.